Good morning, welcome to Linear Fisheries. Now this DVD, we're going to be covering all the venues on site, including the syndicates, fish stocks, best tactics for each venue, a little bit of history about who's been here and who hasn't over the years, because there aren't many anglers that haven't visited it at some stage, and who better to join me on this, Lowe. Now Chris has fished it for over 20 years, as I have. He does a lot more here than I do. There isn't a swim on the complex he hasn't fished, he doesn't know about it in depth. So Lowe it is, unfortunately for Chrissy. We're on St John's, by the way. Now he's just texted me, he's got a right chunk in the net for us. He's just caught one, so I think the best thing we can do now before I get set up is whiz over and see what he's got for us. Come with me. There he is, tucked in on the point. Hello, man. Got one then, buddy?
Yeah, perfect timing.
And a nice one.
Had one, so yeah, it's a nice one as well.
Brilliant start, mate. So we'll have her out and let's have a butcher's.
Yeah, excellent.
Wow.
There we go.
I'm going to get us a bucket of water while you undo.
Cool, mate, yeah. There you go, look at that one. Hey, what a beauty. And
wow.
Bait there as well, look, hey.
Let's have a look. Give me a little bit of that. Wow, what a mental fish. Wow, that is a chunk. What does he weigh?
33 pound exactly.
And he looks it. And how many of them are in here? 30 pounders?
Plenty of them. One of the draws of St John's in it, you know. It's what everybody comes for.
That's why it's one of the most popular yet productive day ticket fisheries in the country, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's a stonker, mate, isn't it?
Beautiful fish.
Incredible. Right, well, I'm going to get some stills and leave you sitting there holding him up, mate.
Excellent.
That is one hell of a carp, mate. Right, I'll let you kick it back and then we'll go into a bit more detail about how you caught it.
Yeah.
There you go, mate. Well done. Well done, mate. Go.
There you go. Average stamp of fish, but beautiful. Okay, there she goes. Exactly what we come to St John's for. Beautiful.
We could not have asked for a better start than that one, mate.
No, it was perfect really, when it, hey?
Well, a lump and a really nice one.
Yeah,
a really,
30 pounder
nice
to
one.
start it off.
Yeah. Well, we're based here on St John's, so let's talk about the lake acreage.
18 acres,
Stock levels?
1,000-ish.
Wow. Right, 30 pounders.
Ooh. 40 to 50.
Christ. 40 pounders.
Oh. Officially it's about 7, but I would honestly say it's about 9 at the right time of
And
year.
how many of them would you put over the 45 pound mark? Straight off the top of your head.
4.
Top 4 or 5 are named anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, it's
yeah.
really famous. I mean, I don't come on here a lot, this one, Chrissy, but the top one that always springs to mind for me is the big plate.
Big plated, yeah. It's the most famous. It's got to be the most famous fish in the country, really.
Well,
really?
even if it wasn't before the call to filming,
That's
it
right.
certainly was afterwards. That was
Definitely,
amazing footage that them guys had. Well, Danny had catching that fish.
Of
I
course.
remember seeing Ali going, "Wah!" running out the tent,
That's
like.
right, yeah.
But that's the one that springs to mind when you mention St John's. But what are the others?
Well, commons. I mean, you've got like 2 commons in here that go over 48 pound at the right time, you know. I mean, a good meal, that could be near 50 at the right time,
We'll
know?
touch on it later, but we do know a lady
Absolutely.
was the last one to catch the 48 pound common, wasn't it?
48.2, I think.
Oh, was it 48.2? and
the
it
two
weren't
makes
under the bush in the corner.
That's right, yeah. The
But
2 makes all the difference.
It's got phenomenal head of carp itself. And I know I've got a favourite lake on site, which doesn't come into it. Yours is this one.
It is.
Tell me why that is then.
Well, stocking level for one, what
Yeah.
we've discussed, but this place does tend to fish no matter what the weather.
Yeah.
You've got the shallow end and all the rest of it where it fishes like when it's flat calm, wind and rain, you've got the deeper water. It kind of fishes all the time.
As long as you can get
You
on
always
them.
got a chance of getting a bite.
You get near the fish.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's fair enough, mate. And you have got, so well, we spoke about it earlier, so many different situations you can fish in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got the deeper water out here where you've got lots of features, lots of little gravel strips and bars, and then you've got deeper silty areas and all the
Yeah.
rest of it as well. And I mean, they produce fish all the time.
Yeah,
so
there's always a good head down this end, hot or cold, isn't there?
definitely, yeah. It doesn't really matter. I mean, look at the weather we've got today. You know, 30 degrees pretty much, and there's still fish in the main bowl.
Yeah.
You know,
And a
they're
lot
not
of them
all
as
in
well.
the shallows.
And you know, you mentioned the shallow bit up there, which also does fish in the winter.
Yeah,
but
it does, yeah.
At the moment, it's quite choked up.
It is.
With
I
the weed,
mean,
isn't it?
we've had a good summer this year. It's
Well,
been
have we?
baking hot. The weed growth has been horrendous, really.
Yeah.
And from the middle of the channel up through and into the shallows, it's completely choked with weed. You know.
Yeah.
And you
How
can
does
be
that
losing.
affect the anglers, though? You know.
Yeah, I mean, they're struggling to land the fish.
Yeah.
You know, in all fairness, you're hooking fish because the fish are there,
Yeah.
but landing them can be a tricky thing, you know?
Oh, well, that's why then we got your man in a couple of weeks, haven't we?
That's right, it's going to be
Shutting
shut
it
for the
down,
week
which
cutting.
is a good policy, isn't it? Really?
Definitely, yeah.
They
Well,
get-
you can't do no better than that,
No,
really,
no,
you
no.
know?
And I know that weed boat during the summer, the hot time in the summer, it will do most of the lakes on site at some time.
Absolutely,
won't
yeah,
it?
it
So-
goes round them all. I mean, you're going to get weed in the margins of nearly all the lakes, so it
Yeah.
goes round and does all that.
Brilliant.
But it deals with the main body of the weed
Yeah.
as well, you know, so it
Well,
makes it fishable for
I think
everybody.
that's it, you know, for day ticket angling, because you get all types of levels of anglers, to be fair.
Yeah.
And for day ticket fisheries, that is a must, because all you're doing is hurting your fish, isn't it?
Of course, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good
So
policy.
It is good.
Do you know what? When I first started coming up here a lot, I remember you doing a series in total carp,
Yeah, that's right. And I still get asked about those maps.
and that was
now.
a map of almost every lake on site.
It
at
was,
the
yeah.
time,
I did a
wasn't
map of the main features of every lake on site,
Blimey.
and I still get asked about them now, and I've still seen the odd copy knocking
Yeah.
around where
it? Well,
people
they
have
were
kept them.
really in depth, weren't they? And all,
That's
to be
right.
fair,
Well,
so-
the same features then still apply now. The only difference around is the weed growth.
Yeah.
That changes anything now,
Yeah.
but all the same features still apply.
You know what, Chris? Imagine now there's a drone 80 yards up there, and it can actually, well, as high up as it has to go to see the whole lake.
Yeah.
Because from the surface, looking out here, it looks quite. There's no islands and as such.
That's right.
It looks featureless, but it isn't, is it?
No, it's
Further.
not. No, I mean you've got the first the first peg on the road bank, and the end point here where Angie is. You've got a complete no fishing bank.
Yeah.
That's one major feature to start with. You know, fish are always going to be down there. You've got overhanging trees, so it's holding fish all
And
the
you're
time.
allowed to wander around and bait, not cars,
Absolutely.
but you're allowed to bait up from
That's
there. I mean,
right.
how big is that as an edge?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? That really, you know.
Blimey, yeah.
And with the weather that we've had this year, a lot of fish move into that
Well,
margin.
it's a shallow strip along there, isn't it? Like a
That's
little
right.
shelf along there.
Yeah, for definite.
Yeah. So, but what about out here then? What we've got? Because we've got quite a deep area.
Well, you've got a main bowl, and then you've got lots of gravel strips that run left to right across you, whether you're on the road bank or the point area.
Yeah.
They run like
We've
fingers.
got that coming across it out in front of
That's
these
right.
ones.
Then you've got the social bank. Now, the social bank has got the most prominent feature in the lake right in front of it, and it runs the whole length of the social bank, and it's 60 yards out, 15 wraps.
Which is an easy chuck.
It's an
for-
easy chuck for most
Yeah.
people, you know, and you can keep it accurate and tight,
Yeah, baiting.
and the fish are right on it. Now, there's a 4-foot difference from the base of it to the top of it
That's relevant because out here they're not. They're almost level with the bed of the
with
lake.
a
aren't they?
silt. Yeah, that's right. There's very little depth difference, but there is the gravel strip.
And what range are we talking about out here? Is it the same as on the social bank where you've got close in bits that you can?
You have got close in bits. You've got roughly at every 20 yards or so, you've got another gravel strip.
Oh right, okay.
And now whether they were like tracks for the, for the digger when
the
they was going
workers,
in and
yeah.
out and all the rest of it, I don't know. But they're quite wide. They're a good rod
They're just
length or
harder
more.
areas, aren't they?
Yeah, harder areas.
Yeah.
They're fairly cleanish gravel. I wouldn't say they're crystal clear. You've got a lot of that like little black weed and they're on it
Yeah.
generally, you know. But
where would you target on them though? Would you fish on that roadway, let's call it, or in the bowls between them?
no, I'd certainly never fish between them because it's quite deep silt between them.
Okay.
So what I do is I cast into the silt, I pull my marker back onto it, I get maybe 3 or 4 foot and then fish on the seam
Okay.
with my line running across the feature.
Which makes sense because also a lot of I always liken this on tutorials to a curbstone.
Yeah,
Because if there is a slightly raised edge, it's going to gather.
of course.
You know, bait, food,
That's
natural
right.
food.
Yeah, that's right.
In that little area there, right on the edge of it.
Yeah, for definite, yeah. And the natural food will be in the silt.
Yeah.
You know, so they're going to be on that scene all the time.
Both options.
Yeah,
really,
you are definitely, yeah. But I don't like to fish blatantly in the middle of the gravel, just for the simple reason is it's too blatant.
It's like fishing on the ground here,
It's
isn't it?
too much, yeah, that's right.
And what about up there then? What we got in? Let's call that end of the lake the shallow end. What have we got up there?
Well, you've got Henman Hill area, so you've got a full margin with tree coverage, bush coverage I should say, and then you've got a tree line right opposite you at around 90 yards, and you can get right under the trees. I mean, they've not got no snags in the water here. It's been...
I've noticed a canopy, isn't
That's
it?
right, it's like a canopy. You can get underneath it without any hassle at all, and the fish love it under there.
So when I got here this morning, you'd had 2 this morning, and I see you baiting up at range.
Yeah.
So tactics on here for you.
Okay, for me, when I'm on the road bank or the point areas like this, I like to bait in the middle of the lake just because you can.
Yeah.
A lot of the fish move to the centre of the lakes, on most lakes, because they need to get away from the pressure. So I like to be baiting out.
A lot of your anglers are just falling just short of that area, so this is what's boxing them into that area.
It can be, but the shape of the lake, like we were saying before as well, dictates that they can't reach the middle of the lake because of the distance they've got from their swims. Whereas these swims you can. So if I can, I will.
Yeah.
Simple as that, you know. And I like to put enough bait out there to get me 4 or 5 bites without having to rebait.
Okay.
So, you know.
So then, what do you mean rebait? Then you'll refeed, you mean?
Yeah, refeed. Yeah, that's right. I don't want to be like I would on a kind of a runs water, if you like. You'd rebait after every fish. I don't do that on here.
Yeah.
I try to bait for about 4 fish at a time, and then rebait.
Yeah. Is that because the depth at this end? Now, what would you be doing the same thing if you was either in the channel or Yeomans Hill end of the lake?
I do actually still do the same thing, and the reason for that is the size of the fish.
Yeah.
I don't want to be spooking the big fish off with rebaiting, and I've quite often caught my big fish. Well, we've caught most of the big fish out the lakes by doing this same approach.
Okay.
And that is have 1 or 2 fish, then the big fish come in.
Right.
And if I was rebaiting, I'm sure that spooks off some of the big
push them
fish.
out.
Yeah. So I don't tend to rebait after every fish.
Right. Okay.
4 fish-ish, then I start to rebait.
And a relevant question only on this lake, thankfully, because I don't fish for them, is the cats.
Yeah.
How do you feel about fishing? And do you bring that into your fishing?
I do. I like cats.
Well, I've seen you with a lot of pictures of them.
I certainly don't mind the
Angie.
cats, you know, and I change my baiting approach for the cats specifically. Now, what I do is I feed like hemp, corn, pellet, boilie.
Yeah.
But then I up my bait. S-feed pellet goes into my mix in more quantity, so I can get a lot more pellet out there. Specifically with the cats in mind. I still bait for the carp, and I still use my same carp rigs. I don't change the rigs. And then what I do is I just put more pellet there, so I'm attracting, hopefully, a few cats into the swim.
We'll have a look at one of your rigs in a little while. But yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I try and avoid the cats, and I know a lot of anglers do.
I can understand
that. But you just want to, you know, you're here to catch fish.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mind a cat being in my swim, because I know that the swim's fresh then. They've eaten everything, and I can start fresh.
Yeah, fair enough. And they, you know, they kick it all
Churn
up.
it all about.
And I don't know that they scare the carp off, in all fairness, mate. You know.
I've had them in the past where I have a cat, a carp, a cat, a carp, a cat, a carp.
There you go then, mate.
They do feed together for definite.
Yeah. So when you come here, if you want to catch the cats,
up the pellet.
Up the pellet.
Absolutely.
God, I'm staying away from pellet then. Right, we're on the point, which is, in all fairness, massively convenient, because we've got Angie and us two all in a row.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've jumped in next here. But that's for the purpose of what we're doing now.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't here and it's just you and Angie now, would you have still picked this peg?
I may well have picked it to start with because the fish were out in the middle, but within an hour or so of this morning, the fish were showing somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the fish were black over on the social bank, and that is where we would have been.
And do you know
as long as there was space to move, you know.
And do you know what? I heard you advising a couple of lads walking around with the buckets, which is what we do, to be fair.
Of course, yeah.
About where to go, and I stood there and watched.
That's right.
You know, I do the same as you. You try and help because you've got your peg, but I stood there and watched more than one young man this morning go. And they've gone to the other end.
Gone at the other end, yeah, or gone to an area that they've wanted to fish, regardless of where the fish are.
They've picked in the local service station.
That's right. I think so. Yeah. Even though the fish were obviously in the area.
Yeah.
They weren't just bubbling They were
Well,
showing
they
and
were doing
jumping out the
blooming
water.
salmon impression.
That's
well,
right.
in all fairness, if we weren't doing this, I wouldn't have sat up there this morning. I'd have gone over in the far
That's
corner.
right, yeah.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? But it really surprises me because I've been here a lot and you're here a lot more, Chrissy, so you know, which is why we're doing this, you know a lot about these lakes and you're always throwing advice at people and it so very rarely
It's
gets...
certainly one of the most popular mistakes, if you like, is that they pick the peg because it's a famous peg, the point, Henmanil, you know, the beach area, whatever, before they ever see what fish are in front of it, you know.
Well,
and it's a mistake that they shouldn't have to make. The bailiffs are on site all the time to be able to tell people.
There's a massive lesson to be learned there. And if you know someone like yourself that is here a lot and who's got the experience here for many, many years, and all the bailiffs, they're so friendly, let's be right. They want you to catch fish.
Yeah, that's right,
They want you to catch fish because you're coming back again.
Yeah, that's right.
So if they are advising you,
you should take it.
Take it on. I'd run round there, like take it on board
for definite,
and at least check it out instead of run to your favourite peg.
That's right.
Yeah, madness. But you know, it's modern angling, isn't it? And it's a rare thing this morning that I noticed when I turned up. There weren't many cars here. I think it was because the football and that was on.
That's right.
There was. That's why the fish were there.
Yeah, no lines in the water. Yeah, nowhere else to push them on the lake. So they just drifted to the area that had got no lines in.
Get on them, even if it means you might catch a couple and then you can shift again before the crowds turn up. But if you're giving advice on the lake, really,
you should take it, especially from the people that are here all the time.
Yeah.
When it comes to using a spom, linear bailiffs are always on the lookout to make sure that it floats, and it's imperative that you make sure it does with either a piece of foam inside or a spom float on the stem at the back. It needs to float, it's essential.
Right, we've talked about tactics. Now we'll talk about the end stuff.
Yeah.
The rigs. I've seen you reeling this morning when we started doing our stuff, and you've got two different presentations.
I have.
Out there.
Yeah.
Why would that be?
I've got a fairly clean area with tiny little bits of like dead weed on the bottom.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to have a fairly bottom bait presentation.
Okay.
And I'm happy to have a pop-up out there because it's not too blatant on top of it. So hence I've got the two presentations.
Okay.
Now my first one is that one. Slip D rig. That suits me for all my bottom bait, wafter kind of fishing.
So if you had two bits of plastic instead of
it doesn't matter.
The pop-up.
That's right. As long as it's not lifting the hook off the deck, I'm more than happy with that one.
And that weight, that's going to sort of lean the hook down, is it? Because that's a pop-up, isn't it? Or is that a wafter on there?
No, that's a wafter that's on there.
Fair enough.
And I have the weight there like that, so I only want that much of the rig going in the fish's mouth.
Okay.
So that's why it's like that.
Theoretically, that drops it just
absolutely
outside the
pulls it down into the bottom lip.
Okay.
Nails them every time, really. You know?
Good enough, mate.
And the second one, which is better known as the Ronnie rig, it's not too blatant a pop-up, and it only sits about an inch or so, or a couple of inches off the deck.
This rig, I mean, it's been around donkey's years, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
No, but it's all of a sudden gone boom, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it made it spinner rig, Ronnie rig, whatever you want to call it.
It works.
It makes sense. That pop-up it's almost a wafter, really.
That's right, yeah.
An inch off the bottom, and the mechanics are unbelievable, mate. This is a rotation rig, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it nails them whichever way they come into it. It spins and it gets them.
This into my fishing. You know, I used to use the flick rig an awful lot, but this summer I've used this an awful lot.
That's right, yeah.
It doesn't fail you.
It's an effective rig, and I can't see anybody changing from it for a long time. You know, it works.
Yeah. So basically, when you come to linear, three things: fish accurate, bait accurate, use the rig you're most confident in, and you're going to catch fish.
You are going to catch fish, yes.
Great advice again, mate. Right, I mentioned earlier that I've moved into the swim just to the right of Chris, which gives me a split swim actually, those that know this little corner. I've got one rod in the channel in about 5.5 foot of water just beyond the weed bed, put a little bit of bait on that one, and these 2 rods in this swim. I've got a net in each area, by the way, essential, and I've got 2 rods here. It's 10 wraps, 40 yards on a nice little slope. It starts at 6 and I've put it at 8.5, 9 near the bottom of it. Put a little bit of bait there, a bit of mixed particle and some code red boilies. This is the setup I'm using. It's a semi-fixed pin down leader, nice and soft but very heavy, semi-fixed 3.5 ounce bomb and a little spinner rig. Actually, if I show you this other one, there we go. A nice little spinner rig. And what I do with that is, one's got a bright pop-up on, and the other one, as you can see, there's got a code red fish meal one. Okay, they're both code red flavour, but this little rig here is a nice little quirky thing. Soft but very heavy link on that. Okay, rotation rig, it spins all over the shop. I've weighted it quite heavy, and when I just prior to casting it out, 2 little old pop-ups in a bag. There we go, we're going to pop them on now in a mesh bag. So when that lands on the bottom, donk, that'll hold it up like that. It will melt in the end, off they go so the seagulls can nick them. This will fall in a little pile because it falls quite quickly. It's overweighted and it's very supple and very heavy material, and that will sit in a coil. Now I've done a lot with this rig this year, and last year I was using it with something I called the flick rig. I've changed it this year, this little spinner rig, and the results I've had speak for themselves. Loads of big fish, lots of small fish, but most of the fish with this rig, because of this movement, I'm finding I need either pliers or a pair of forceps because it's right beyond the lips where I can't get my little short stubby fingers in to unhook them. So very reliable rig. Everything on this rig has got a purpose for being there. It's not a nonsense rig. It's not one of them you create to show people for fun. It works. Every little percentage is there. Bosh. So then what we're going to do is hook him on there like so on the little quick change thing. Mind you don't hook your knee. Up goes the little rubber. Bosh on there, which holds it in place. That will stop it tangling. Chuck it out. I'm clipped at 10 wraps. We'll hit the clip, which then in turn throws the rig forward. Bonk, feel it down. Up she is. That will drop down, as I've just said, in a pile. Wait for Mr. Carp, which I'm pretty sure is going to be midnight onwards, but we'll see. And with that, it's about time, because I've been here all day. I started fishing and then cooked myself some dinner. So off with the specs and in with the leads. There you go.
So this is my partner, Angie, and we're always down here on the linear complex, and you know, we catch a fair amount of fish from all over really, and Angie's had a fair amount of big fish as well. So this is a couple of fish that she's had this morning, and she fishes differently to me. So I think what we'll do, we'll get these fish back and we'll go over Angie's approach to things. And there she goes.
Well, when I turn up, I always like to fish for a bite. So I could be doing 3 different setups to start with, and whatever's working on the day, I'll change the other 2 to it and fish all 3 the same. Yeah. I think the way I fish is don't put too much in all at once. Just bits, 3-4 spots at a time, see how it goes. When we come to a lake, I'll always literally just put a bag on for a quick bite. I mean, it works on most lakes, you know. I mean, I caught the big common in Oxley's on a bag. It was on the bottom bank of Oxley's, and like to me left, I thought, oh, there's a fish there, just crashed. So I got a PVA bag, tied it up and chucked at it. And it just screamed off. And it was the 52 complex record for me. Well, solid bags are working for me at the moment. This is the PVA rig, 2.5 ounce lead, coated hook link strip right back, so it's supple. Size 8 curved with a wafter and a bit of corn. What I do, I'll put the rig in first, get that lying flat, put a bit of pellet over the top. It just separates the hook from the lead. So the lead goes in there, fill it to the top, and then PVA, tight, couple of knots, finish it off. I cut the excess off to keep everything tight and neat, and I do puncture the bags, take the air out, and then I fold the corners in, so through flight there's no drag. And that's the rig made up. That's what I call the 52 on Inoxleys. On the day that I caught the box, we had to walk around the lake first. We was going to set up on the life buoy, and then we just saw fish showing opposite. And so I found a spot on gravel, halfway across, and then just started spodding over there. But I put a single on with a wafter, with a top with a bit of corn, and off it went. I netted it, and oh God, it's a nice one. So I had to run and fetch him, and then I looked. I knew what it was. I thought it was the big common, and then I looked at it in the net, and I could see the square, and I run down to tell him. I says, I think I got the box, and when we weighed it, 48.2 it was. So again, I was made up. There's still one that I need and that I'll still come back for, which is the big plated. I need it and I want it and I will get it. Well, they tell me it's pheromones, but no, I'm telling you now, it's skill.
Right, yesterday we spoke with Chris Lowe's a nightmare, by the way. I love him, but what a nightmare. Spoke yesterday about his baiting strategy to somehow bring cats into the peg by using lots of pellet. Well, let me tell you, I'm not a fan of them, but it worked. He had a 20-odd pounder in the night. This morning, in the last half hour, it's gone ballistic here. We've had a carp each, and literally as we've simultaneously netted these carp, his other rod's gone ramping off. Half hour later, this monster of the deep has emerged, wriggling its way backwards. We've managed to get it in the net, we've got it in the edge. So, I won't be using pellet on here, but you might want them in the future if these are your bag. So without further ado, as they say, we'll do the carp secondary. We need to get this cat because it can't be retained. We're going to now grab him at the margins. We'll talk more about this monster when we've got it on the mat. Let's get it sorted. Go away with that water. It's like a bar of Lux, only smellier. Right. Well, there you go. This is why I don't fish for cats, and this is also why Chris does.
Yeah, I do like them occasionally.
53 pounds, a monster.
Well, funny thing, I was talking yesterday about like introducing more and more pellet into the mix to catch the cats, and then this shows up along with a 20 pounder as well. Yeah, that's right. And they do fight.
But there you go, they're beautiful creatures. This is by no means the biggest, is it?
No, there's lots of big ones in here, and they go to over 90 pound.
Well,
so
you know, if these monsters float your boat, St John's is also well worth a look at it, mate. And
yeah,
what have you had them to?
66 I've had them to, and Angie's had them just over 90, so
there you go. If Angie can catch them at 90, so can you guys. Now I think it's time to release my arms from the weightlifting I'm doing.
That's right.
And put him back in the water, mate.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's
there you go. Right, just put Chris's big cat back. Off goes my rod. Thank you very much, Chris.
No problem.
I didn't want a cat, and I've got one. Look at this. Thank you, Chris Lowe, and your pellet approach. There we go. Look at that. All joking aside, what a beautiful little fish. They don't all weigh 90 pounds or 53 pounds, do they? Well, it was a drop back, by the way, not a screamer. Look at that. Miniature perfection. Now, I wouldn't even want to be, even a minnow would be fitting his eye in, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Mine's bigger than yours, Ian.
Do you know what? Not a lot in it though, was it? Ooh, we better get him back before he dries out like a little chip. I've managed to carry this down here, all on my own, and we're putting back. Now, if that remains my PB cat, I'm quite happy. There you go, darling. Off you go. Oh, they're a bit mad, but there's the other half of the carnage I spoke to you about. Double take for me and Chrissy, just before the cat ruined everything, in my opinion, but made Chrissy's day. So there you go, carnage over. Couple of low 20s. Your average size is 20 to 25.
Yeah, I would say so.
And now tell me that doesn't make St John's a lovely place for carp fishing and cats. And ta-da, baby. Bye-bye.
Back home, go and tell your granddad.
I've just had the second one of the morning. It's been hectic this morning, all on solid bags. Wafter, bit of corn, 2 mil pellets. I reckon it's about £17. I'm going to pop this one straight back. It's been hectic this morning. This is the third carp and a cat just in the net. Just keep it slowly coming. Whew. Girl power. Careful.
Okay, we get this one back and get on with sorting that catfish and the rest of them out.
Here she is, a little cat, but they get much bigger in here. I don't mind the catfish. I don't mind catching them. I'm a good fight. Thanks, Chris.
Well, we are still sat on St John's, but we do feel the need to have a chat about Hardwick Smiths. Now, it's somewhere I've not really, weirdly enough, I've been fishing here 20 years. It's somewhere I've not really done more than 5 or 6 nights on, but you have at times, at different periods, had a good time on there, had a good go on there, should I say?
Yeah, definitely. I've been over there a lot over the years. The last few years, not so much.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's been down to like stocking levels and things,
Yeah.
you know. There's been a lot of new stock introduced in the water.
Well, that's why I didn't go on there, because when you come to Linear, you're looking at getting bites. They're all of you.
Yeah.
Now, I know it is that now, but it wasn't then, was it? That's
No,
why I
it wasn't, no.
I avoided it, mate, which is
Lower
wrong.
stocked water, you had to work for your spots as well
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. But they were pretty fish. They
Yeah.
were like the best looking fish in Oxford, you
Yeah,
know, really.
yeah.
Beauties. But there was less of them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why people weren't really on there, you know. And that's one of the reasons why me and Angie loved it, to be fair.
Because it was left alone.
It was left alone, and you got you got a whole corner of the lake to yourself. And it was nice. But since I've introduced such a lot of stock in there over the past few years, they've got to a level now where they're mid doubles, mid to upper doubles, and it's changed the makeup of the whole lake. You know, they're proper feeders now, and they're encouraging all the originals to feed as well. So
what have we got in there?
Well, you've
ballpark figure.
Roughly 1,000 fish, lots of 30s.
Yeah.
30 plus. I don't really know how many 30s are in there, but there's lots of 30s. At least 3 different 40s. You know,
it's a fair stock in comparative to what it used to be, which is why I used to avoid it.
But all the fish that you catch are like hand selected, pristine, beautiful carp. Yeah. You know, fully scaled, linears, zips.
Well, which is what they used to be years ago, the older stock.
That's
you
right.
never quite knew what you were going to get, did you?
No, that's right.
But it is 2 lakes, isn't it? It used to be Smith's, Hardwick. Now it is, boom, it's 1 lake, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that's right. I mean, at one time you used to get the fish where they were all in one side and not the other. And
I remember
that's what made it a little bit different and difficult. It's not like that now. The fish are in both halves of the lake. They're in Smith's and they're in Hardwick all the time, you know.
So accumulatively, we've got about 25, 26 acres, haven't we?
Yeah, 25 plus acres, 1,000 fish amongst that.
So what's the, I was going to call it hot spots, or what's the hot swims on there?
There is actually a hot spot on there, as it happens, which is one of the prime swims on the right-hand conveyor bank, and it's just sort of 18 wraps out from there, just straight out to the middle of the lake, if you like, just dead straight in front of the swim, and that is one of the prime swims, if you like. Now, another good area of the lake as well, which is neglected a lot, is the road bank. You know, where you've got the road right behind you.
Oh, well, you've got that point in the trees, didn't you? Like a little...
You have, but before the point, so just the middle of the road bank, just sort of 20 wraps to the middle of the lake, it's absolutely full of fish every morning.
Right, okay.
So if you're just dropping on there to start your session, it's an ideal place to start, and then maybe move off and find somewhere else for the afternoon. But in the morning, they're always along the road bank. It's like it's a good area to start.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know, and then you can move off maybe into Summer Bay, around into the corner of Smith's, onto the Spits. The Spits, you've got the option of both sides.
Yeah. And I did fish the Spit once in one of the charity things, and I had 2 rods there and one literally behind you, and it is cool, isn't it? Doing that,
yeah. Like, and you've got really deep margins off there as well, and you've got such options there. You can fish them at 4 foot, 6 foot, 10 foot, 18 foot.
See, this is something that also scared me going on there, because the first trip I'd done on there a long time ago, I was getting like 20 foot with a marker float.
That's right.
But you forget, of course, you know, you progress in your angling, you forget. They know it's 20 foot.
They live there, don't they? Yeah, that's right. They live there. We don't, so it scares us. But to them, it's normal for them to feed in 20 odd foot.
The lakes I come from, you were looking for 10 and under. That's right. Go there and throw a float out, and it went woo, like 10 minutes later.
You felt like he was broke.
My legs come up or something.
That's right.
That's why, you know. But as you say now, it's nothing like that.
No, nothing like that at all. I mean, you've still got the depths. And the fish do feed in all the depths. You haven't got to be frightened of any of the depths. You can catch in 25 foot of water, no problem at all, as you can catch in 4 foot. But the stocking level of the lake at the moment, and I think for the next 2 years, is almost going to be like a Runs water.
Yeah.
Because they're between sort of 16 and 20 pounds.
Brilliant.
And they're proper feeders.
Yeah.
And they're encouraging the whole lake to feed.
I've noticed a couple of my friends that fish it earlier in the spring, Jack and Rob, they were getting 20, 25, 30 fish in a couple of days.
That's right.
That's when I started waking up to the fact that Hardwick Smith's is now phenomenal, really. If you want to get bites,
that's right.
You're dropping on there as opposed to when we used to drop on there and not really expecting bites.
No, you'd expect one run every day or something, really, if you got things right, you know. Yeah. And now it's not like that. Now you can actually build your swim and properly get a big hit of fish going. And the big ones come in as well with it then as well. You're not just catching the little ones.
And have you? Right, now I'm looking, imagine we're standing in the gap now with Smith's behind us. Over that side, I'm led to believe that's a really shallow Summer Bay sort of, not in Smith's, in the big lake.
Yes.
In Hardwick. That's shallow, is it?
It is shallow there, yes, it is.
And deeper near the conveyor, what used to be the conveyor belt.
The conveyor bank is the deepest area, and then off that conveyor spit, if you like, you've got a lot of depths off there.
Okay.
But off the road bank, coming back towards the spit, it's more uniformed.
Yeah.
You know, sort of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you never get more than about 12 foot there from the road bank.
Cool,
so it's more consistent. So you have got a bit of everything. You've got all the features in the deep water off the spit, but then you've got the gradual decline down to like nice depths, if you like, from the road bank. Yeah, that's right. But some of the areas off the conveyor bank can be sort of 22, 28.
Yeah, 20 is what I found there.
That's right.
But if you, I do remember also years ago, a mate of mine went on when I had Heathrow, talked about the roach fishing. And he had like half a dozen big twos, some big perch. You know, he went there specifically to, so it isn't solely about the carp,
no,
is it?
Not at all, no.
These other coarse fish are huge in there.
They've had pike in there to over £31. Bream, I've had 10 plus bream in a night.
Out of Hardwick?
Out of Hardwick, yeah. 10 plus.
Blimey.
You know.
See, that's rare because Linear isn't really known for its bream fishing. Now, I know they've all got odd ones and they're big ones, and I've had a 17 myself at hunts, but you know, that to have a shoal of them. So it isn't just...
No, that's right. There's lots of them in there. There's lots of roach. Terry Earn used to go on there years ago, roach fishing.
Yeah,
you know, there's lots of like opportunities for the other fish, and that big ones in there.
Yeah.
Because it's left alone, they're getting big.
Thrive on neglect, don't they? Same as all,
absolutely,
you know, in all the lakes. It's the same at Linear, isn't it? But that one in particular. Why are we sitting on St John's then?
Well, I've got to be honest. I think talking about it now has got me blood boiling for it, and I'm going to be on there next week. For definite.
Well, I won't be because I'm working. But fair play to you, mate. Keep us informed.
Yeah.
Right, here with Fishery Manager Chris Blunt. Chris, we've got some exciting news going on for you for Linear. Come on then, what is it?
Yeah, we've got loads of exciting stuff going on this year. This area just here, what is looking a bit scrubby and horrible at the moment, hopefully by next spring will actually be a tackle shop. We've been talking about it, we've been talking about it for 20 years?
Cool, no, yeah,
probably
long
time. I'm not going to go into the details of why it's taking so long, but with a bit of luck, planning's going through next week. There should be a nice sort of 230 square foot tackle shop going in.
Wow, awesome, mate.
Not going to be a cafe as such, but with a bit of cake and coffee sort of area.
Oh, tea and crumpets.
Tea and crumpets.
Which is the type of guy you attract. Yeah.
We're also going to put in, how can I describe it? Like if you went camping somewhere, you'd have a camping shop. So you'd be able to get your bread, your milk, your eggs, all that sort of stuff in there.
Yeah, just provisions.
Yeah, provisions. Provisions. Yeah, so fingers crossed, finally we get a tackle shop.
Mate, that is brilliant. That is brilliant news for Linear, isn't it? Because as you say, it's been on the agenda for longer than I've been alive, so I'm only 21.
We do get asked it about 2 million times each year where our tackle shop is.
Well, you've got a captive audience, makes massive sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's offering a service.
Yeah, definitely.
For people that want the right equipment. So,
so we're excited about that.
Well, I should think you are, mate. Other than that, we're doing the British Young Carp Angling Championships?
Yeah, British Junior Championships. We took that on from Angling Publications. Well, we took it on this year. It didn't happen last year. The last championship was 2016. So we took it on from them just to give something back to the kids.
Yeah.
So this year we've taken it back on again. We've had a qualifier in April on St John's. Just had a qualifier on Brasenose too. We've got one more qualifier left on Oxley's, and then the finals in August.
a little birdie whispered in my ear, a big birdie actually, Chrissy Lowe, that you might have some more lakes coming online. Might have.
Yeah, we are looking at new lakes. We do get criticised for things over the years. One of the biggest criticisms we ever get is that we're too busy.
Okay.
Like I say, we like to think that that's because we're trying to do it as best we can, and that's the reason the people are coming. But still don't stop the people sort of coming in, getting a bit disappointed when they can't get a swim. So we are actively looking for lakes, and there are things moving.
Okay.
Can't give too much more detail at the moment because, you know, it's all linked in with planning, what we can and can't do. But we are looking at new day tickets and syndicate waters.
Well, that's still it's brilliant news for carp fishing,
yeah,
you know,
so,
and for linear fisheries.
Yeah.
And just one more thing, a couple of your youngsters went out, was it World Championships or something?
Yeah,
Local lads.
Yeah, I mean, true linear fashion, we can't help ourselves. We took on the British Junior Championships, and then we had a phone call, well, an email basically, offering us to go and take part in the European Championships. Right. We ain't got time for that sort of stuff, but we said we'd do it anyhow. Yep. Because it's just, it's kids. They want to be doing this stuff for fun. So, last November we were speaking to a chap named Vitek. He runs the European Carp Angling Championships for juniors. Brilliant. Takes part in the Czech Republic. Yep. So this year we took a team out there. Long story short, they led for pretty much 60 hours.
I was following it on Facebook. Ian done a fantastic job.
It was brilliant. Ian's updates were just great. They got pipped at the post, but it was a wonderful event. You know, they were on a podium at the end with 5,000 people there at the presentation. Wow. So we have actually got one of them down fishing with us at the moment. Right. Max Whitehall is a brilliant angler. Right. He's over on Brasenose, one over there at the moment, with Ollie, his uncle, who's also one of our staff. Right,
that fits in nicely, because guess where we're going next?
Let me guess, Brasenose.
B1.
Lovely.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Cheers, mate.
Here we are, we're over on B1. Now this is a very similar size to B2, roughly 32 acres each. B2 a little bit bigger, and the stock levels are pretty similar as well. About 1,900 fish each lake, but B1 has just got the edge on the size. Now I don't fish over here as much as I'd like to, but there's a lad over here, young Max, he fishes on B1 and B2 all the time. And I think we'll go over and just see how he approaches the waters and take it from there. Good to see you, Max.
Are you all right?
Yeah,
Angie?
you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Are you catching a few?
Yeah, I've had a few today.
Excellent. Yeah. And how are you catching them?
On the deck. I've had them today, where I pop up and a wafter, and that's what I caught them on. I also tried zigs this afternoon. Didn't have any action on them.
No, that's right.
It's gone a bit cloudy now, so I think get to about 4 or 5 o'clock, go back on the deck.
Yeah, that's right. Give him some bait as well, yeah. Okay then, Max. Is it easy on here?
Not in the slightest, no.
No.
It's all dependent on the weather, the location. If you're not on the fish, you can't catch them.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's right, yeah. And what about being out in the middle, Max? It's got to be an advantage if you can get out in the middle.
Yeah, it's a massive edge. If you can hit the middle, it's really big edge.
Yeah.
It's something really good to have in your armoury.
Are you out in the middle at the moment?
At the moment, yeah, I'm out in the middle.
Yeah, with all 3 rods, or you got one closer in, or?
I've got one closer in, and I've got 2 out in the middle where all the fish have been this afternoon.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Are you going to change any of your rods at any point?
It's actually I was about to have a recast it right now.
Excellent.
So, yep.
Yeah. We can have a good look and see what the young man's doing. So, have you found like that any particular colour works better on these waters?
It's I've always used a lot of corn in my mixes. I tend to bulk it out quite a lot with corn, boilie and hemp. Yellow pop-up always works wonders, same as pink.
Yeah.
Any pop-up really works, to be fair. Yeah. Just hemp just normally gets them grubbing around quite a lot, and boilie has like a protein.
I've always found that the corn works really well on here as well, you know, because there's a lot of it going all around the lake, isn't there?
Yeah. Everyone you speak to's always got just a little bit of corn, but normally if you've got loads of corn in your mix, then you're gonna have a lot better results than everyone else. Yeah. So now let's just change the colour on this. Obviously black and black isn't working.
Yeah.
So just try a different colour now.
Oh, that's
See if
fair
we can
enough.
Make a quick bite. Yep.
Sorted.
All right.
Give it a go.
Yep.
Okay then, Max. How would you approach your swim choice on B1 and B2 for that matter?
Normally I'd just chuck out a reasonable distance and then I'd look at the horizon markers. Normally everyone goes on, say for instance this tree, and then that tree. Normally I've always found I get better results if I fish 3 rods on a really tight spot.
Really tight spot,
Really tight spot, yeah. So I'd look at the tree, then the branch, and then the one next to that.
Okay.
I've always felt more comfortable going 3 rods on a tight area.
So it's mega tight, yeah.
Mega tight, yeah.
Yeah, so as tight as you can get it, the better the results.
Better results, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And what about the choice of swim on the lake, you know?
Yep.
The corners, middle of the lake?
Normally when I rock up, I don't tend to look for the corner swims because you're boxed in, you've got your little amount of water. But normally if there's a swim free that you can reach the middle or you've got a reasonable spread of water, then you've got a better chance of catching a few
There's more fish coming past you then, I suppose, isn't there? Yeah, that's right, yeah. So you prefer B2? Why is that, Max?
It's just more exciting, really.
Yeah.
It's normally with brazen nose one, it's just a bowl. You've chuck out, there's a spot, that's where you're fishing. Whereas on B2, like I said, you've got bars, weed beds, you're fishing more effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more to contend with, makes the fishing more exciting,
Exactly, yeah, more exciting, yeah.
Excellent, yeah, that's right. What's next for you?
The other week on Brazen Nose 2, I had a qualifier for the British Young Carp Anglers Championships.
Yeah.
Thankfully I qualified.
Excellent, well
so now
done.
we're on to the final on Oxley's in August.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And are you going with any preconceived ideas or judging it at the
definitely
time?
Not. You can't really go there with like a mindset of what you're going to do because it could be, you could go on the deck and it could be really hot and they could be having it on the surface.
That's
could
right.
be floater fishing, zig fishing, whatever they're having.
Well, I hope you do well in that. And I know you're fishing down here with Ollie.
Yep.
So I'm going to shoot off back to St John's and go and see Chemo.
Yep.
Good luck in the match.
Cheers, thank you very much. Thank you.
Come and give me an hand. Okay. I think I got a nice one. Might need some water on that. I think.
It's a whopper. That's one of the old girls, isn't it?
Have you weighed it, yeah?
I don't mean you, Angie, by the way. I mean the fish.
Yeah.
Don't need that going on.
Give it away. What is it?
£30 4.
Well, what a lovely carp. £30 4 ounces, proper old character of the lake. Well done, Ange.
Yeah, well done.
And what's more, we've all fished here a long time, as you guys know. We've all had this fish over the years. How cool is that? And I had it from this swim as well.
And so did I.
It's funny, I had it from the next swim.
You were, yeah, but knowing you were casting in this swim.
Probably.
There you go, let's get that.
And there she goes.
And what a fish to end on. St John's, thank you very much. We've had carp, we've had mini catfish, medium catfish, big catfish, some lovely carp in all fairness. We've had a great trip.
We have.
We have, yeah.
We're off home and we'll see you
On
in
the
the
back
autumn.
sometime, say.
Yeah, we will be back sometime. Yeah, well, in the autumn you'll see us
Yeah,
again.
in the autumn.
Thank you very much.
My name's Josh. I've been invited down by the Linear guys to come and do a 24-hour session here on Yeomans. So I'm at the start of my session. I'm really excited. The syndicate itself, I was actually a member of 18 months ago. I was a venue regular here, as well as the day tickets. The place is beautiful. It's very, very picturesque. The fishing is fantastic. Personally, I fished Unity and Gaunts a little bit more than I have Yeomans, so I'm really looking forward to this session. But yeah, there's a whole host of big carp to go for, some beautiful looking fish, so I can't wait to get started. So what's good about the Guys Syndicate? Not only is it very secure, you're flanked by a couple of rivers, you've got a couple of access gates as well which are coded, and only the members know the codes. The place itself is very, very well kept. The grass is kept beautiful, the swims are all nice and clean and tidy and well spaced. You've got on-site parking as well, so there's car parks, there's 3 car parks placed conveniently throughout the site. Not only that, but there's also drop-off points around each lake as well that you can drop your gear off, so you don't have to walk too far. In my opinion, is very well priced. At the moment it's $695 for this year, which is 2018 to 2019. I'm not sure about next year's prices yet. That gives you 3 lakes. Now essentially, if you work that out, if you're a day ticket angler and visit Linear anyway, if you come down for, say, 2 weekends a month, let's give that a round figure of £100. £100 a month, that's 1,200 quid a year. This place, you can knock 500 quid off, value for money is perfect. The fish are immaculate. So all in all, not only is it value for money, a beautiful place to be, but you've got some fantastic fish to go for as well. Okay, so when you come through the gate here at the Guys Syndicate, the first lake you can see is the beautiful Yeomans. Yeomans itself is packed full of features, and not only that, but it's also got a nice island to fish to as well. And that's one of the reasons that I've picked where I am today. I'm in a swim called the End of the Island swim. Obviously I've got the end of the island in front of me. It's got a beautiful sort of 4 or 5 foot gravelly plateau on the end of it, and that's hopefully where I'm going to target, or try and target, one of my baited spots. If I don't succeed there, I've got plenty of other options as well. I've got reed beds to both my left and right and a deep gully between me and the island as well, so I've got options. In terms of the stats, Yeomans is approximately 10 to 12 acres. Like I've already said, it's got an island in it as well. Fish stocks, you've probably got around the 450 mark. There's a good 15 30s at the right time of year and loads of backup 20s. And you've also got a big fish by the name of Jenny that goes low 40s at the right time of year and is a beautiful looking carp. So Unity then. Unity was actually the first lake that I began fishing here when I joined the syndicate way back in 2014, mainly because of the big carp that it held, namely moonscale, which sadly passed away the year later, and you've also got the big common in there, which is still around, and that fluctuates between low to mid 40s, so a real big fish and definitely one of the jewels in the crown. The lake itself then is a little bit bigger. It's around the 20 acres. It's a bit sort of wider and a bit more open, so the distance casters out there are going to enjoy that one. Spots, again, it's a bit spotty, so what I mean by that is there's gravel bars and gravel humps that are akin to maybe somewhere like Manor on the day ticket. So if you enjoy fishing somewhere like Manor or Hardwick, Unit is definitely going to be right up your street. The stockings then, again, approximately 500 carp, loads of backup 20s again, slightly less 30s than Gaunts, 15 to 20 maybe at the right time of year, but you have got 4 40s, and within those, you've got the goldfish, you've got the ghosties. Very, very well sought after, some big ghost carp. So if you like your ghost carp, Unity is definitely the water for you. Favourite lake of the 3 then? For me personally, it has to be Gaunts. In my personal fishing, I like somewhere very picturesque. I like deep, weedy venues, typical of the gravel pits here in Oxfordshire. It also gives me an island, so it gives me features to fish to as well. It's just beautiful down there. Not only that, but I'm a big fish hunter. And down there you've got some very big fish. You've got the likes of the Albert, which is the biggest fish on the complex. The Auntie Albert, which is a sort of scraper 40 at the best of times. The Sergeant is a beautiful historic mirror that goes 40 pound. The big common, the list is endless. So in terms of the style of fishing I like and the big fish that goes with it, Gaunts is definitely the one for me. As well as carp fishing, to be fair, it's relatively underfished for some of the other course fishing here as well. So some of the specialist fishermen that sort of enjoy fishing linear on the day tickets would certainly really enjoy themselves over here. I personally have had some lovely tench on the carp gear, and those that are dedicated to the tench fishing have certainly caught some lumps, whether that be from Unity or Gaunts. They're mainly in there. There are a few in Yeomans, and not only that, but you've got some great predator fishing as well. There's pike in all 3 lakes, so if you do like your predator fishing, then don't ignore it. It's prolific. So without further ado, that's enough stats for now. I'm going to get fishing. Hopefully I'm going to prove the nickname of this swim wrong. Apparently it's called No Carp Swim. I'm going to prove them wrong. So in terms of bait, I've gone very simple, simply pellet, a bit of hemp and some whole and chop boilers. Reason being, normally I would put corn in the mix, but I'm fishing quite a shallow area and the birds are battering me, if I'm honest. So I've tried to keep it quite dark. What I've done to counteract the corn not being in the mix is put quite a bit of oil on it. So I've gone taste and flavour and smell for the attraction rather than visual. Normally, if it was a bit deeper, I'd quite happily fish corn, and certainly on some of the other lakes, corn batters it. On this one, it's not paramount. I do like it in the mix, as I've said, but it's not paramount. But like I say, I'm fishing at the moment a 4-foot gravel bar, and I don't really want to catch a coot. Feels nice. It's just gone round to the right, so ooh. Deciding that he wants to go up the other end of the lake for some reason. It does feel quite a powerful fish. I'm not sure about size, but it's certainly got plenty of power behind him. Come on. Thank God for that. That's a bit of a result. Pressure's off. Okay, we just popped the hook out of this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it straight into the retainer. Just retain it in the edge for 5–10 minutes maximum, not too long, just allows the fish a little bit of a chance to recover. She's had a good battle, bless her, as we've just found out. What that allows me to do is get all my camera equipment ready, the scales, etc., sort of zero the sling, do all of that side of stuff, and then that way the fish isn't out of the water for very long. So I'll do that now. It allows me to get the net set back up, get the rod back out if need be as well, hopefully a chance of another one, and then we can do all the pictures and weigh in afterwards. So I'm just about to flick this bait back out. We've just caught that lovely fish. It's probably going to go the 20, hopefully. A lot of people ask me, while we're on the topic of bait, oh, what bait do you use? What rigs do you use? And, you know, that's fine, all well and good, but if I'm honest, 99% of baits nowadays that are supplied in carp fishing are really good. They work. It's exactly the same with rigs. You can go into a shop and buy any rig, you know, and it's rigs are mainly fads. Just use what you're confident in. But the thing that I think sets some of the better anglers out, or apart rather, on somewhere like Linear, is their effort and their work rate. And part of that for me is preparation. So inside here, I've got about 50 little sort of mesh bags tied up. So if I can quickly grab one of them, the rig's all ready to go because I've got 2 or 3 of them tied up as well. So I've simply nipped on another rig. Fish is waiting to be weighed and pictured. Let's get the rod back out. Happy days. She's 23 and 2 ounces. A lovely broken linear of 23 pound 2 ounce. Well pleased with this one. Pressure's off slightly. There's always a bit of pressure when the cameraman turns up and you've got a day to catch a few. Little bit of bait just on the end of an island, 4-foot gravelly bar just on the edge of the island there as the slope comes down. There's a few fish boshing around it this morning, so I was half expecting this one, but pleased nonetheless. We've done all the hard work. Like I said, this has been languishing in the sling for 5–10 minutes, no more. Happy days, really pleased with this one. I'm going to pop her back, hopefully catch another one. Okay, the sling is still in the edge, just putting that last fish back. And as I'm doing so, testament to putting the rod back out quickly, it's gone again. As we were saying earlier, it's coming at me quite quickly. As we were saying earlier about effort, getting the rod back out quick, making those extra few minutes pay. Bit of bait back out, 10 minutes, off it rattles. That is going right round the corner. I've only just, in fact the fish is still just down here in the sling. It's just recovering nicely in the edge there. And we've doubled our money and caught 2. Well, we've hooked 2. We've got to try and get it in first. Oh, bumped another one. What's going on? Why are you doing this to me? Okay, so back to where we were. Rewind. The fish is still in the sling. As I was just putting it back, the middle rod's torn off. Sadly lost that one. These things happen. We've tried to rectify it. And it's just now waddling off, bless her. That's one of the best bits for me. I do love that. I was blowing my own trumpet, rather gloating rather well, when disaster struck. As a result, I'm now going to have a bit of a think about why I've bumped another fish. Because I bumped one earlier very soon after hooking it, and I've bumped one again. And I think it might be due to the length of the rig. So we're going to have a bit of a rethink and get the rod back out as quickly as possible and try not to lose one. I've looked at the length of the rig. I think that's the reason I'm losing them. I think it might be a tad short, so I've lengthened it by 1 inch. So let's see if this works. So before I even had chance to put another rod on the spot, it's gone again. It's one of those things that if you do get on fish on any of these lakes, you can have big hits quickly. As we were just talking about putting a slightly longer rig on, I've changed some things. I have changed 2 aspects of the rig. I did go down a hook size as well. The reason being was I wanted a slightly thinner gauge, which meant that it was slightly sharper. Just the fish going through my other line slightly. And not only that, but the rig's slightly longer. And I felt that the fish weren't taking the bait fully into their mouths. And I'm hoping and praying that this one doesn't make me look like a fool. Oh, I don't believe it. Okay, after a little while of inactivity, I've got a fish on. It's actually run through my right-hand line. Now this can sometimes happen when you put a couple of rods on one spot. Don't panic. The issue being is the different line angles can, sadly pull on the rig, and as a result, it's very nerve-wracking when it comes to playing a fish because you're just waiting for things to pull. It's tempting fate, but I'll be amazed if I get this in just because it's wrapped around the other line so much and the line angles on it must be terrible. It has lassoed itself. But we've got a carp, so it doesn't matter. What a mess. I'll sort this mess out and I'll hold a fish up for the camera shortly. I have no idea how it's done that. Quality of this carp, man, this is lovely. Beautiful, beautiful carp. After a little period of inactivity, we finally got one. And this, as you can see, is not only absolutely stunning, it's a perfect example of a guy's syndicate mirror. Quite a lot of the fish in all 3 lakes resemble fish akin to this one. They really are superb. Fight hard, perfectly formed, beautiful looking animals. The other side's just as good. I'll pop it down in a minute and show you that side. Beautiful mouth, just really well proportioned, healthy carp, and a joy to catch. Rather pleased with that one. So as I say, this is the other side, just as good if not better, if there is such a thing. There's a beautiful little sort of 5p piece scale on his shoulder, rather a telltale one, so it'll be interesting to keep in touch with Mr. Blunt and see how this one grows over the years. In fact, I'm lucky enough, as I said earlier, to have helped stock some of the fish in here, and this is probably one of those. So it's nice to meet up with it again. What a stunning carp. 21s?
22.5.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
Big old reed bed to my right, and they just love going around the front of that. No one in the swim next door, is there? That's a fish. Chris, hit that.
Well, this is something I haven't done for a few years. That's the first time I played a carp in 4 years.
Really?
Yeah. Let's just hope I don't knock it off.
Don't worry, I've been doing a good enough job of that already today, mate.
You remember how to do it, Chris? You turn that handle on the left.
Well, I did have to think for a minute then.
It's on steroids, mate. What have you been feeding them? Get in that net. Yes. Right, I've held up my end of the bargain. No. Every single fish I've had have really scrapped. Oh, it's not bad. Yeah. Good skills, that man. Well done, mate.
I'd pop round and show him how it was done. It's bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, decent upper double common.
Yeah, that'll do.
Big old head and shoulders on him.
That'll do for another 4 years.
What a lovely brace of carp, mate.
Yeah, that was enjoyable, that.
Thank you ever so much for inviting me down. I've loved every minute of it. It's just these fish. I've had 8 bites today, which has been a brilliant day. Testament to the fishery management, for yourself and your team of wardens here. So thank you ever so much.
Yeah,
really
thank you for
enjoyed
letting me blag one off one of your rods as well.
Well, as you can see here on Yeomans, it's become a beautiful evening. And even though Chris had left and we were planning on packing everything up, I got to admit, I couldn't resist. I love the rod back out, bit more bait, and sat in the beautiful sunshine, chatting away to the cameraman as you do, and it's rattled off. I love it when it's like this. Autumn, October, should be cold. You get a beautiful, last couple of beautiful days before you enter that long old horrible winter period. So then, £28 4-ounce mirror. I've managed to capitalise slightly by popping 2 rods back out on the spot. Had that brilliant double take earlier on with Chrissy. But what a lovely carp in the evening sunset. Really pleased with that one, and what a beautiful way to end a fantastic 24 hours on this stunning lake. Really enjoyed myself.
Well, what a lovely way to start the autumn-winter section of the linear DVD. A nice mid-30, Oxley's Lake. Give us a few minutes and we'll talk about how we managed to get that one. Cheers. Well, that was a brilliant way of starting this section of the linear DVD. I got lucky and turned up with traffic-wise, lucky got here an hour before Chris and Angie. Saw one pop its head out, put a bag on it with a little yellow wafter, and that 35-pounder couldn't have started better, mate, could it?
Perfect.
And that one, oh, you got stuck in traffic, I didn't, and that's what it was down to, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, bad news for traffic.
Well, you'll have to get a different sat nav.
That's
mate.
right, yeah, in future, yeah, that's it.
But you know what? We come to linear a lot, the three of us. I've turned to favour the manor now. These days, I fish this a lot. When I caught the common out of here, I said I'd never fish it again because it's that big.
And look at your next bite.
And look, well, there you go. I haven't fished it for 4 years, and my next bite's a 35-pounder.
How good's that?
I like the manor. You two fish this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Why would this be one of your favourites?
That's one of the reasons, what you've just had. You know, you've got a good chance of coming here, seeing a fish poke its head out in the winter months, after we've had several frosts, which they do show themselves, so they're not shy.
Well, we've seen a few, so...
You can chuck a bag to it, and you can possibly have a mid-30, 40, whatever it might be. There's a chance of it there, and that's why this water is so good for that reason.
And
you know,
it's consistent and it right through the calendar.
It's got winter form.
This one.
Yeah, it's got winter form as well, though. I mean, it's good all year. Yeah. But it has got winter form as well.
Well, they've all got winter form, haven't it? But you know, I do know you spend a fair bit on here in the cold.
That's right.
This is just a little bit more reliable, possibly than the others, mate. Certainly for where you guys are coming from.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But like you say, you can turn up here, chuck bags, chuck zigs, chuck singles at them, and you've got a chance of catching. On some of the other waters, you can't always do that. There's very little weed out here, so you can do that here comfortably. Somewhere like the manor, you've got to find your spot.
Yeah,
you can't just chuck them anywhere.
And it's still quite weedy, isn't it? So you are spot looking for there.
Definitely.
And that proved it this morning with that one. Just a little mesh bag, a little pineapple wafter, bosh.
Yeah,
10 minutes it was off, like, you know.
That's it.
But real lucky.
But not only that as well, I mean, the wind conditions and all the rest of it, they don't always just follow the wind on here. So it doesn't matter which end of the lake you are, you've got a chance of being on fish.
And that in here, isn't there? I mean, what's the stock in here?
Oh, it's got to be, what, 1,400 plus fish in here? You know, 60 plus 30s, you know?
And, well, how big was he when you had him?
52. The common one?
Yeah, £52. I mean,
solid bag.
That's enormous, isn't it? Just get it right. Yeah. £52 plus common.
And you know, similar sort of tactics to what you just did as well.
Yeah, solid bag.
Solid bag to a showing fish, and there you go. You got a £50 on the mat. You know,
and this place has got still here, still for doing £50 now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Be enormous now at the moment. You know,
there's a good head of 40s, so you've really got right through the spectrum of weights.
You have, yeah. And it's not very often you catch the smaller fish. In all honesty, you know, your doubles and that they're in here. Yeah. And they're in here as your backup fish, but it's not very often you catch those.
Well, I was glad I didn't this morning.
No, that's right. Yeah.
With a lucky one.
That was a saver.
And most tactics. I mean, when I fished it a lot. You could, you know, you got method. We've done them all. So as you have method, you flatbed feeder as well. You've done it.
Yeah.
Method feeder, solid bags, normal mesh bags, zigs were butchering it at certainly different times of year, weren't they?
Definitely.
So any sort, as long as you fish well. Yeah, as you say, there's enough in here. What is it? 20 acres? I don't know. What?
It's about 26 acres, I think it is, isn't it? You know,
but it's almost canalised, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it's sort of 90-ish yards, 100 yards to the middle at the widest point, and then it narrows down a little bit as well.
And you've got the bars aren't severe, but there are lots of bumpy bits.
There's lots of gravelly areas in most swims, and there's lots of silty areas in most swims.
See, when I fished it a lot, I used to avoid the gravel because everyone else didn't. I'd find the soft bits with a light lead. And the clip up, and I'd always fish the soft stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But the gravel produces such a lot of fish in here, so it's not like you can ignore one over the other.
Isn't it?
It is a personal thing.
Your fish will where you're
and where you're comfortable with as well. You know, sometimes like
you know that since catching that one, I've set the swim now, and I have set the rods. I let it around for quite a while, and I've got 3 soft areas rather than gravel. It's bizarre. It's just what I do like.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, but like I say, in here you can catch them off all the areas. Yeah. So it's not really a problem. You know?
Well, like you said, there's no weed, so if you a solid bag, as you did with that bigger Angie, can buy you a bite anywhere.
You're fishing straight away, ain't you?
You're on the bottom. You know, you've got a chance of catching.
That's right. And not in here, in this one as well, particularly. A lot of the fish come to like small zigs as well. You know, a lot of people don't fish the small zigs. You know, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot. You know, in like 12-foot water or whatever. Most people.
Saying that, I remember young Tom years ago. I'd packed up. The lake was half frozen. And he come on after me with his dad Andy, and they had a record amount of carp in the snow from under the ice line on 2 and 3 foot zigs.
2 and 3 foot
like
zigs.
90 fishing a weekend.
That's right, yeah.
Phenomenal amount of fish.
It just shows you though, not many people fish that low with the zigs normally.
Well, I know.
So it's an area that's normally neglected.
Yeah, I usually target 2/3 as we all start.
That's right, half and 2/3.
Fair play though,
yeah, that's right.
But I don't think that's ever been equal in them conditions.
No, that's
it
right,
was
yeah.
thick snow and there you go, mate. I went out
Right
for my
time,
tutorial
right
because
place,
it was freezing
brilliant.
over.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do tonight then? Or what are you doing now? We've got a couple of days ahead of us.
Well, I've got to be honest, I always start pretty much the similar thing, solid bags out to start with, because you're always fishing, try and nick a bite, pretty much like you've done. And then this afternoon, early evening, I'm going to spot an area up and I'm going to use boilie crumb, and I'm going to use F1 corn, and not so much boilie, in all fairness, a little scattering of boilie, you can't be without it, and then I'm going to fish 3 different hook baits over the top, of which I haven't decided yet.
Put them into
one area,
yeah.
But I'm going to fish 3 different hook baits over the top of it and see which one goes, and then maybe move all of them over to that sort of thing after.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. You get the bite on one colour. Lakes are like that, and
that's right.
It can be colour driven on certain days.
Definitely.
And is that what you're doing, Angie?
Just solid bags for me.
You're not going to bother putting any food out?
I will later on, but for now it's just solid bags.
Yeah. So tonight, what will you do? Boilie, same as Chrissy basically. Boilie crumb.
I'll probably put a bit of the F1 corn in. More so the F1 corn for me.
That's exactly what I'm doing. 3 wafters. Obviously in the area I had a bite from as well.
That's right.
And a couple of tins of that. Because I didn't leave home without that.
That's right.
Such is my confidence. Certainly on linear, wherever I go really.
No,
but
that's
certainly
right,
on linear, whichever lake I fish, if I'm boilie fishing, there'll still be.
Well, it's changed our fishing over the last few years, hasn't it, really, with that. So it's awesome
and I'm
stuff.
glad most people don't use it.
No, that's right, yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, mate, I'm glad about that, but we are, aren't we?
That's right, yeah.
And there's a little, the other lake that we'll talk about in this is Hunt's Corner.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a brilliant little lake. It's somewhere I've never really done a lot, for no reason at all, because it's lovely, isn't it?
Exactly the same for us, though, in all fairness. We don't fish it that often, but in all fairness, it's a beautiful little lake. You've got nearly an acre of water each.
It's almost exclusive, isn't it? Last time I went up there, 10 pegs, which you book on a different system. Do you have to book them, or do you just turn up?
No, you just turn up as normal,
Okay.
But it's a bit more exclusive. It's almost like you've got a private lake to yourself, Having
the
an acre
pegs,
of water
they're staggered,
each.
aren't they? So
they
you're
are.
not. On here, you're
opposite,
always looking at someone because of the nature of the nature of the beast, and the same on Brasenose.
Yeah.
But up there, they're sort of staggered around, so you're not
are.
actually staring in your door.
And you've got plenty of margins to go at as well.
Yeah.
You've got your own margin. You've usually, on the end pegs, you've got margins to the side of you, and you've got far margins, so you've got a lot of choice,
and
really.
And it's the smallest on site, and it's 9, I think.
That's right,
with 400 or 500 fish in it.
Yeah.
And they've done 40 the other week, didn't it? So it's done its first £40.
It's gone over £40, yeah, that's right. And it's got massive head of 20s.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for 20-pounders, that's the water to go at, really.
There's that many under 20 in there, is there?
No, there ain't.
The times I've walked it, and my mates have been on it, they've had good head of 20s and good head of 30s.
Yeah, it's got a decent head of 30s as well. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Pounders. And same tack as these, isn't it? If I went up there, the times I've been up there, it's been the same again, little bright baits, little bit of spod.
That's right. The only thing I would say with that one is that they do tend, because of the shape of the lake and the size of the lake, they do tend to follow the wind a lot as well. So the weather conditions do dictate that lake a bit more than some of the others.
It's like a dog bowl, really, the shape of it, isn't it? It's a bowl at each end.
That's right.
And like canalised in the middle.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But they do like to be at both ends.
Yeah.
So the 2 ends are favoured, I think, more than the rest of the lake.
Depending on, like you said, the weather conditions.
But they're always going to be pasture all the time as well. So, you've got a lot of...
So if you're in the middle,
you've got a lot of
change coming, it's worth...
Yeah, them fish coming by you all the time.
And that's a good surface lake, isn't it, in the summer?
It is, yeah. There's a lot of people go up there, do a lot of features on the surface. They get a lot of fish off the top.
It's a strange little water, that one, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
lovely,
not one
though.
that I favour, but maybe we should in the future if it's doing that many 30s.
Yeah, that's right, mate, yeah.
Well, there you go, mate. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's Oxley's done. So I'm now going to you've made all the tea, I'm going to go and put the kettle on, and let's see what the evening and the night brings, mate.
Cool, mate, yeah.
See you in a bit.
See you later.
Yeah.
Right then, what I'm going to be using on this session to start with is ever faithful F1 corn and boilie crumb. And nothing too complicated. I'm just going to put those two products together and 3 different hook baits over the top and go from there. Okay. Out from this swim here, I'm on the second platform along, and it's quite silty out at range, but the gravel starts at around about 19 wraps, and the gravel comes all the way into about 14, 15. So I'm going to start by fishing on the edge of the gravel where it joins the silt, which is 19¼ wraps, and that is exactly where I'm fishing at the moment. I'm going to be fishing right on the join between the 2 areas. Well, I've got to be honest, this place here normally produces fish early evening through till sort of midnight, 1 o'clock, and then you have a lull, and then it sometimes kicks off again in the morning, and that's when I'm expecting bites really, around midnight-ish to be fair. I think the fish are well spread, and I'm quite happy to fish a slightly larger area, so about the size of a bivvy.
Yeah, we got a bite. And literally, we were standing here talking, and one jumped, which we reckon was somewhere between me and Chris's areas, and this has just gone wallop. I'm guessing it's not the big common, because that I've never known it fight, and we've all caught that. And this is ballistic, this thing. You don't want to give up, mate. Here he is. Tiny bit, mate. I've got the wrong here.
£30, mate.
It's a 30-pounder. Yeah, it's another 30-pounder. Thank you. Oh yeah, he's a big fish, mate. Earlier on when I recast these 2 rods, I remember saying to Stuart, they've landed right on top of each other, which is a good way of fishing on these waters. And when this middle rod took off, it picked up this left rod, which didn't surprise me in the least. So it towed it around a bit, so we've got to have this in. I'll rewrap it, readdress this rod with a fresh little bag of pellet and get it out. I keep looking at that fish, he's growing in my mind. Get this back out there before we get him out of the water. So we've still got one in play. Come on! Tiny little bag of pellet as earlier. It's amazing the power. And bear in mind I've only put a tin of corn out there. The power of a bit of plastic and a little bag of pellet, but you know, on this, certainly on this lake, it works so well. Right, I'm going to re-chuck that one and then get myself ready to do that. With a what? It's more like that actually. Right, that is that. Very, very happy. I did say earlier, the Manor's really my favourite lake. Well, I was joking. Of course Oxley's is my favourite lake in the cold weather. Why wouldn't it be? It's full of big uns. It's full of great big carp. Let's put that aside and prepare myself for the onslaught with that hippopotamus. Chuffed to bits, in all fairness. I still get excited when I catch a fish, big and or little ones. It's that much sweeter when it's the big one, obviously. So, sort my head out, get the scales, get the sling way zeroed. That's it.
You checking that, Chris? Because that ain't like plus 1 2 pounds, is it?
Listen, if anything, I'm going to minus it.
He's only cheating himself.
I don't need that one then, do I? Yeah, he's only be cheating himself, mate. Right, ready?
£34.5.
Really?
Yeah, 34.5.
Oh! I thought it'd been more than that. Bless his heart. Oh, there you go. There we go. What a lucky day I've had. £35 this morning and 34.5 this evening. And it's only 9:15, so we've got plenty of time yet. They are jumping out there, but what a lake. And there you go. We said earlier, in our little chat how many 30-pound fish are in here and what can happen when it goes right for you. And do you know what? We're not catching many, but them little ones aren't whizzing around eating all the bait. All I've done out there is a tin of F1 corn, a little bit of pellet in the bags, and 2 big fish. Couldn't be happier. You never know. Might make it a hat trick yet. Let's get rid of this one. Rods are back in play. Time we had a cup of tea. Yeah. There you go. But you fought like a warrior, so you can now go home. Look at the width of that fish.
Beautiful.
And that is why we come to Linear when it's cold. Pucker. I'll sleep well tonight. I'm amazed we didn't have any more bites, but we didn't. I only heard one fish and all in the night, which is unusual, because the night before they were bouncing around like salmon. Nip up now with me cup of tea and see how Chris and Ange fared. Ange, why have you got roadkill on your head? Nah, I only heard one more.
Yeah, that's
I heard
right.
one
Yeah.
fish in the night. Somewhere where you are out there, a good one and all, but
He was quiet.
Yeah,
I heard a couple about 3 o'clock this morning as well. So perhaps we might be on for 1 or 2 as the wind's changed and picked up a little bit for today.
different day and all, isn't it, with this cloud?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It feels like carpy weather.
There's more ripple on the water as well. So
Yeah, the wind's picking up today as well.
Is it?
Yeah, so could be in for a shout.
Good. But it'd be nice if we got a few more bites for you guys as well. But
yeah, of course. But again, that's winter fishing for you.
it's
They're not
carp fishing.
everywhere, all over the lake, all the time. So
No, that's right. That's right.
It just gets slower this time of year, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
Is what I've been lucky enough to have.
Have
A couple
a
of
big
fish,
lump,
but
yeah.
a couple of big ones.
good
like,
ones.
you know,
Yeah, that's right.
Not
Yeah.
the little doubles and low 20s.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here on Oxlease as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? For that reason, you
Big-
know.
I know you mentioned the big headed 30s, and there you
Yeah.
go. 2 out of 2. Blimey.
Yeah. Mid
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
Can't
yeah,
knock
good
that.
ones, big ones. Right, my take on day ticket angling, which isn't just referred to this lake, Oxleas. The way I do it is, it's my way. I do it my way, which isn't copying everybody else, and it catches me fish, as it has done this trip, to be fair, a couple of lucky bites. But what I do here, now everyone who tips up at a lake, any lake I go to is looking for the big bumpy stuff, the gravel. Now, for me, if there's a lake and it's nearly all silt, and I find a bumpy bit, I'll fish that because it's different. If I find a lake like this and there's lots and lots of gravel, I'm looking for the soft stuff because I do like to be different than anybody else. And also, if you think about it on here, everybody fishes the hard stuff. Well, where their natural food is in the soft stuff. Now, what I done was when I got here, I threw this around, big heavy bomb, braided line, and my spod rod. Threw it around the swim. Most of it out here is bumpy stuff, and I was desperately looking for them soft areas, and I found 2, obviously. 2 rods on one rod on another, and I put a little bit of corn out, a couple of tins of sweet corn. Both of my bites have been from big fish, and they've been, ironically, over the corn, nothing on the single rod, but I'm always looking to do something different. So we'll have a lob out here, and it is better with braid. Got friends of mine use the nylon, but for me, it's a braided thing. Now that has landed in the stodge where I have had a bait for a couple of days with nothing happening on a single hook bait, but it's where I want to fish. It's what gives me confidence. That is just a smooth drawback, smooth as you like. It sort of almost drags. And again, it's where their natural food's going to be in. It's like a curbstone in a road. Behind the gravel, the water movement is naturally going to drop all the food behind it, not on it. You know, we pull a bait up on top of a gravel bar, a visual bait, that's fine, I can understand why we're doing that. But when I'm fishing single hook baits or a little bag, I want to put it where their natural diet is, because I'm not drawing them in with a big bed of corn or a big bed of boilies. I want to fish where I think they're going to be eating naturally. So that's still that's it. Now, watch the tip there, we've just hit that seam of gravel. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. That is what I don't want to be on certainly at this time of year. The only food that's going to be found on that is what anglers are depositing, or probably the guy that was in the swim before me. So it's another good reason for me on day tickets to stay away from that sort of area, because I don't know anyone else that fishes like I do in the muck and the poo on the bed of the lake. So I'm looking for something different. Always do something different. Do it your way, unless of course the bloke in the next swim is absolutely battering it, and then you're going to have to look and adjust. But it never affects my fishing like that. I tend to do okay by looking for something different. So again, what you need, a big heavy lead, for me braided line, because you can't miss a trick with that, and my spod rod. I don't bring a marker rod anymore. This does it all for me. I find the area that I want to be in this mush, point the rod at it, clip it, remember my tree line, reel him in, round my yardsticks, clip 2 of them, take that off, little spod on, bosh. It can't be any easier, can it? Stay away from what everyone else is doing and you'll do all right. Do it the Russell way. Well, that brings us, certainly me, to the end of my trip, the autumn winter section on Oxleys. Yeah. It's been hard going, this one, but it just showed you 2 fish mid-30s. It shows you what can happen. Of course, we've done a summer thing on St John's.
Yeah,
that was fun, wasn't it?
That was real fun, wasn't it?
Catfish.
Catfish galore. It was lovely.
I just can't stand the things, but there's loads in there. Do you know what? You guys should fish it more for the cats, because they are phenomenal fish. They fight like Billy O, don't they?
That's right.
And once you've done your pellet thing,
yeah,
explained how you would go about catching them.
Yeah. There's not many anglers out there that actually specifically target the cats either.
You should do. You're missing a trick.
There's a lot in there. It's good to have a
You're missing
good
a day
go for
ticket trick, not having a rod for the cats. If you want a fight of fish,
yeah,
that's your one to fight, and it?
Definitely,
so,
mate. Yeah, definitely.
I'm off home now. I've got work tomorrow, unbelievably, before you make a joke about it. And
Say nothing.
When are you going?
We're going to stay on till gone dark, and we've got a few hours left, so hopefully we can pick one up once your rods are out the water. Well, give us a chance.
There you go. Thank you for watching. We've loved making it. Great company, great fishery. See you down at Linear sometime. Thank you very much.
I'm going to change a few things, I am though. I'm going to take 2 rods off my area, and I'm only going to keep 1 on the baited area. Ian, he's had fish off like little bags and, you know, not much bait, and I put a little bit more in than Ian, and I think I might take 2 rods off my area, keep 1 on the bait, and have 2 rods just as like roaming rods, if you like, you know. And if I see any fish show, I'm going to chuck to them.
That's it. Keep your options open.
I think that's my plan.
Yeah.
That's on. Yes. Well, can you believe it? Hey, Ian's gone. We've been sat here for a few hours now, and it's just starting to go dark. If you like, the sun's just set, and the rod that's been left on the bait all day has just rattled off. Even though we've seen fish out in front of Ian's swim, as it happens, I've seen a couple of fish show there, and I've chucked both my other rods over to that area, and it's the one that's been sat on the bait that's finally whizzed away. So hopefully this will be if I'm as lucky as Ian, this will be a nice chunk, but we'll see how lucky I am.
Well, at least he's got one. It was worth the wait. That's us hanging on. You want to come over to me this way then? And in she goes.
There we go. Happy days. Well, there you go, Ian. I did have one more. Only 19.4, but good average stamp really as well. And I think that really is the closing end to to the DVD. And although we have got about 20 minutes or so left, but there you go.
Before we get to the end of this DVD, there's a few really important points we want to get to on the fishery. The first one is here. It's a new scheme that we brought in this year. Other fisheries are doing around the country. Biosecurity. We've got around about 16 of these tanks, all dotted around the fishery. They're all full of a chemical. It smells lovely. It doesn't do you any harm, but if you have got any allergies, we do have gloves here for it as well. So this is really important. If you don't know what it's about, basically, it's about viruses is the key one, and also a few sort of key parasites that are identified by the EA. All the instructions that you could possibly need to do how to do it is just here. So please take the time when you get here, dip your nets, dip your mats, dip your slings, retention slings, and let's try and keep the fishery safe from any beasts and bugs, particularly the viruses that are around at the moment. Now, before we really get to the end of this DVD, there's another little bit over there we'd like to go to, which is the lime recycling scheme, another thing we're really trying to push at the fishery, and we'll give you some more details of that in a second. Right, so here it is. This is the lime recycling scheme that we've got involved with this year. It's quite a few shops, quite a few fisheries around the country all doing it now. It's been pushed by a good friend of ours, Viv Shears. Basically, what it involves is all this lovely stuff in here that used to go to landfill. We want to go and get it recycled. So what happens now is we collect this at the fishery. We've got about 5 of these dotted around the fishery. We then send it off, or we send it back to Viv, and he sends it over. I believe it might be Norway. It's somewhere. It's a foreign country, and it gets recycled into a plastic product and used again. So we talked about the biosecurity. We've told you about the lime recycling, 2 important things that we really need to get behind. But there is one more, possibly, as far as the fishery is concerned, even more important and exciting thing that's going on. That's just behind me over here, and that's the tackle shop. Right, so earlier in the year we talked about a potential tackle shop at the site. We're glad to say that all the planning's come through and work has actually started on it. In fact, we've got the first concrete pour is imminent, probably within the next hour. It's taken a while to get the planning through. It's December tomorrow, so it's taken a little bit of time since the summer when we first talked about it, but we're really pleased that it's happening, and we're hoping sort of by next May, June time it'll be finished, stocked and open to the public. Now the shop itself is going to stock all sorts of stuff from obviously your carp stuff for a carp fishery. We've got to have loads of that in there. We're going to have a little section for the catfish. We're going to have a section for tench, for bream fishing. We'll try to cover all the areas, because one thing people seem to forget about this fishery, it's not just about the carp fishing. We get loads of catfish anglers now. We've had them to over, I think, 91 pounds this year out of St John's. There's a few in Manor Farm Lake as well. We've also had plenty of pike out in the winter, and we want to see more pike anglers coming down, because there's not really enough of them about at the moment. It seems to be a dying trend in the sport. So if we can get some more pike anglers down, it'd be great. And there's going to be plenty of stuff in this tackle shop that will suit them. We've had loads of tench out, some really good tench. I think the biggest this year was about 11 pounds. I'm not sure if that was Hardwick Lake. It was either Hardwick, I think, or Manor Farm behind us. Big tench in St John's. We're even getting big tench out of both the Brasenose lakes as well now. And the little hidden gems are probably Oxley's and Hunt's Corner. People don't realise the tench fishing we've got in there at the moment. So you've got the tench, you've got the bream. So a lovely bream out of Hunt's Corner this year, up to just over £16. We've had them up to about 13, 14 out of Brasenose, and we've got them up to mid-doubles in most of the lakes. So if you like your bream angling, it's not the easiest, not always the easiest to find the bream and catch them, but you'll have a section for those as well. Like I say, I've mentioned the tench. We get a lot of tench anglers here in the spring. And then one that people probably don't quite realise as much about is in the winter time. We get quite a few people down here for the perch and also for the roach. There's loads of roach here now. I don't think people realise how exciting the roach fishing is here at the moment. You've got roach in Brasenose 2, is probably the best known water now. You've got roach to nearly £3 in there. You've got Brasenose 1 that we know the carp boys have had them to over £3, or they do tend to be a little bit harder to catch. You've also got big roach up in Oxley's, big roach in Hunt's. Only 2 weeks ago we had a £2 15-ounce roach out of Hardwick Lake, and we know there's some big ones lurking around in Manor. So if you like your roach fishing, well worth a go. Best time seem to be probably from late October, November onwards, up to about probably February time. When the water starts warming up, it tends to be a bit harder. You can't escape the carp quite as much then, but if you like your roach fishing, well worth a go. So that's it for this year's DVD. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next year, either down the lakes or actually down at the new tackle shop.